Yo, what's good, guys? We are back at it again with the final tier list of set 3 that I have planned. I don't really see any reason to make a new one for the foreseeable future, as we did just get our World Series rewards and we just got our BR rewards. So, for that reason, I don't really think I'm going to be updating this. I will do a best team in the game video showing you the best possible lineups for God Squad, and that will be coming soon. But in the meantime, if you do enjoy the content, if the content is helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. And let's get into it with our outfielders of set 3 for ranked. So, Judge, I think, has finally dropped. Honestly, was an S tier card up until, probably a couple weeks ago for me, up until like when Griffey came out, probably. I mean, his swing is so much better than the previous years. And people go on and on about vision. I don't really see it like that. I think that card was very good, especially for his time. This Adolis card, I'm a little worried about. I'm going to put him B initially, but we may have to readjust just because those Derby cards can't play any defense. I think Gordon is a top tier option, lacks a little bit of power. His swing is decent. I wouldn't call it great by any means, but it is a decent swing. A lot of people think that all lefties have good swings. Not necessarily the case. Same for Andre Dawson. I would say a below average right-handed swing, especially for the price you would have to pay for this card or the innings you would have had to have grinded. Probably not worth it. I think there's definitely better options, like the brand new BR McCutcheon. If you use the collection reward McCutcheon last year, you know how insane his swing is. The power numbers do bother me a little bit, and the speed. He is not meant to play center field necessarily, right? 88 speed, not going to cover a lot of ground. His reaction is good, but that just means he's going to be better off in a corner spot, right? Give him like 86 reaction with the 88 speed. He'll play a good corner spot for you. Should not be your primary center fielder, probably. But in left or right, I think he'd be very good. Santander, similar to Adolis, just lacks defense. Going to be an amazing bat, but lacks defense, and is going to struggle because of that. Austin Riley, absolutely top tier elite bat. If you can't fit him in your infield, fit him in your outfield. Won't even play bad defense, to be honest, especially if you have the Ripken boost. That guy's looking nasty. Harper, I think, is very similar to Alex Gordon. Probably has a little bit more pop, a little less contact. I believe he's a little slower than Gordon. I mean, the parallels are kind of there. If you want that left-handed outfielder, there's plenty of them to choose from. I guess when Harper expires soon, then you can move on to Gordon. They are similar cards, I would say. Buck O'Neil, been over this a million times. I think he has better value in left field because, having a good defender is more important in the outfield than at first base. But still lacks that power, and not really somebody I would put in any lineup or consider in any of my lineups unless I was on pure legend and struggling with the PCI sizes. Speaking of PCI sizes, I'm going to need to really look at this Buxton. I've glanced at them. 111 is good. 97, not so much, especially with the better right-handed pitchers we're getting now. The power numbers are pretty crazy. Vision, you already know I don't care about, but 81 is good in general. That clutch is god-awful, and the fielding looks absolutely insane, especially if you superfractor him. You're looking at 95 reaction. Honestly, a pretty crazy card. I do not like what they did to his swing this year, but if you still do enjoy his swing, I think he's definitely S tier and probably the best defensive outfielder in the game. Somebody has finally probably usurped Mickey for that title. I guess it depends on what his arm strength is. It's 99. Buxton is the best defensive outfielder in the game now, and he will probably hit about the same as Mickey for most people. This Chas McCormick, just a little budget card. He's bad against one side of the plate. I'm not sure which it is, and he's not very fast. But put him at corner spot. If you're on a budget, he'll be fine. Bellinger, I believe, is S tier. I think, personally, he probably has a little more value at first for me because of the bats that I can fit in my outfield. But if you don't have that surplus, if you don't have a God squad, I think Bellinger is a top tier outfield option. I would not play him in center field. You're kind of seeing a theme of that, right? Unless they are a Buxton, a Mickey, a Bader, somebody like that, they really don't need to be patrolling center field for you. Corbin Carroll probably has more value in center field. That being said, his swing, a lot of people absolutely hate his swing. He is a little deficient against lefties power wise, so that kind of sucks considering he's going to see John or Randy probably every game. But the clutch numbers are good, and you can see why you might would want to stick him in center field. 99 speed. He'll have 94 reactions in center, superfractored, and he will retain his diamond defense. So up there with Byron Buxton for one of the better defenders in the game. I just think that bat is going to struggle. But if you do enjoy his swing, he is probably S tier. Biggio lacks power, but he's going to fly around the bases. And he should play great defense depending on what his arm strength is. Him being a catcher. Okay, 85. That's not terrible. I would not laugh at you if I loaded in and saw Biggio in your outfield. But it's not a top tier option, I would say. Same for Duke Snyder. Very similar to like Harper and Gordon, except he's even worse against lefties than these other two, but he absolutely mashes against righties. His swing is elite. I'm not too sure on the fielding. Yeah, so does not need to be in center field, but maybe in a corner spot, he has a lot of value there. He is more in line with these lefties than somebody like Bellinger. Cruz, S tier, definitely probably the best pick out of that draft high round pack, other than Skeens, but this is outfield tier list, so I do think Cruz is the best pick out of there. He has two contemporaries on this list that we haven't got to yet. Eric Davis, I will need a refresher on this card. He came out a while ago. I never touched him, and that's why. His contact against righties is awful. His power against righties is honestly below average for probably what you would want. Speed is there, reaction kind of there, and the fielding is there. So he will play a good center field, not like top tier, like Mickey or like Buxton will. And the bat is probably going to stink against righties. But I don't think I can drop him below a lot of these other guys. I would probably rate him as the second highest pure center fielder of the A tier. Corbin Carroll's probably better. But that is his secondary, right? Another good budget option, mentioned him on the infield tier list because of his positional versatility. This card is very good. His only flaw is he can't really hit for power against righties, but other than that, absolute budget demon. If you're on a budget, Duran is your guy. Sizemore, not really good anymore. More in line with these like Harpers and stuff. You can give him the Ripken boost, but I don't think that makes him like jump a tier or anything. I think he's just fine, and you're gonna see that, right? There's a lot of outfielders in the game. A lot of them are just fine. Hank Aaron, absolutely mashes. The defense is a lot worse than I thought it would be, but he does mash. Hank Thompson provides a lot of versatility, and he is a good defender, and he can play, like I said, every position. His swing's okay. It's not absolutely top tier, but it's not garbage either. Does go on the Rollins team, which is nice, but in general, I don't really see it with him. Harold Baines, just another budget option. That's pretty much what B tier is. Everybody can go get this Harold Baines. I think he's a fine card. Put him in a corner spot. He'll do fine. Ian Happ. I think Ian Happ. Okay, we're going to get a little more mean here, I think. Biggio doesn't have the power. But he's like a Buck O'Neil type guy. He brings defensive value. I really want to drop Grady. I'm going to drop Grady. With the Ripken boost, I think he is probably A tier easily. Without it, just B tier. No real reason to run him. And then Happ, his true value is as a second baseman. You can see he's going to struggle against lefties, contact and power-wise. Does have a very good swing and is a switch hitter, but doesn't even have particularly like great reactions in the outfield or speed. He's just fine. He's fine. He's overpriced for what he is, but I would not run him over any of these other guys. So I think I like how I've kind of readjusted A tier for the most part. Robinson gonna be in the top tier of that A tier. Another like Buck O'Neill, Biggio type guy, where a lot of contact, decent speed, gonna play a great defensive outfield, just doesn't have the power that you would associate with one of your outfielders, right? Your outfielders don't have to do a lot other than your center fielder. Your center fielder should be fast. Everybody else needs to mash baseballs, and Jackie's not going to do that. Speaking of Duran, Jaron Duran, pretty poor card to be honest. Very fast, but you're gonna sense a theme here. 70 and 78 power is not gonna get the job done, and I'm not even gonna look at him superfractored because I don't think too many people are gonna be doing that. Jason Dominguez, the contact numbers aren't really there with him. Does have a good switch hitting swing. It just kind of depends on how fast he is. 87 speed is below average. 78 reactions is poor. Just not really making up for what he needs to do for you out there. Javi Baez, top of A tier. A lot of people don't look at this card as an outfielder. He does have a left field secondary where he would have 85 reaction, 85 speed, great arm strength, and a gold shield. As a left fielder, there's not too many better options in the game, to be honest. And I don't think a lot of people are looking at that when they look at that Javi card. This Martinez, C tier. He's absolutely god awful on defense. Nobody is really as poor as him on defense in this tier. Baines and Santander aren't amazing, but this card is a pure DH. He should not be in your outfield. I guess he's not as bad as I'm thinking. That's still bad, right? I would rather have one of these do-it-all cards than somebody like Martinez. I guess I got him and Jordan mixed up a little bit. This Edmonds time has come and gone. Don't think he's that guy anymore at all. Jock Peterson, in a corner spot, I think he's S tier. Do not play this card in center field. I don't know why I see so many people playing him in center field. He is too slow to be a center fielder. His reaction is not good enough to be a center fielder. Put him in a corner spot, and that's where he'll like really thrive at. Joey Gallo, my favorite card in the whole game. You can make this card work for quite some time. 108, 86 is bad. It is bad, but he has a very good swing and he has max power. And actually okay clutch for a Gallo card. If you put the bat on the ball, it's going to go a long way with this card. And up until late Hall of Fame, you're probably good with this card. Obviously, put him in a corner spot. He should not be your center fielder. I thought that went without, mention. But J-Ram, absolutely elite. He's elite at third base. He's elite at second base. And he's elite in left field. They are all absolutely great spots for him. And he is a top tier option at any of those. Soto is A tier, and he's kind of going to break the mold from the guys like Martinez and Baines, where, yes, he is god-awful on defense. I will give you that. But his bat's going to make up for it. I think his bat's going to be better than all of these guys. Ideally, you would have him as a pure DH, but if you absolutely cannot work him in your lineup, and he has to play the outfield, he will do a good enough job, and his bat will make up for the runs that he does end up costing you. This J-Rod card has the speed, doesn't have the contact numbers you'd probably like. Griffey, obviously S tier. Out of the left-handed outfielders, he's by far the best. I don't think that's too debatable. Marte will lack a little bit on defense, but the swing is absolutely awesome. We'll have a gold shield. If you run the shortstop team, I think he ends up with like 88 speed in the outfield, which is more than enough in a corner spot. Again, don't play him in center field. Kyle Tucker with the Ripken boost, you could argue S tier. Without it, he's just another one of these A tier left-handed outfielders that are probably going to get ate up a lot because of Randy and Donaldson, but still a good card. Doby, very deficient. Against one side of the plate. Can't recommend him. You can see there's not too many of those 97 Team Affinity cards on here, and it's because most of them suck. Booger, he's going to stay where he's been. He's Bryce Harper, Duke Snyder, Sizemore type guy, except Sizemore's probably worse than all of those. because he's a center fielder, which means he's weighted differently, which means speed matters more for him, which means his hitting is actually worse. A whole lot of other stuff. Lars is a center fielder who is slow, which means he has very good hitting stats, and he has an awesome swing. I believe his power is a little low. I think it's in the 80s against one side. No, it's 92. So that's doable. Again, not a center fielder. Put him in a corner spot, and that's where he's going to shine the most. This Luis Robert, as far as a budget card goes, I was comparing him to his Derby card. Really, no reason to use the Derby card. This is a card that could be worth putting parallels on. If you are somebody that plays at like all-star level, 89 speed would probably get the job done in center field. I'd probably put him in a corner spot, to be honest. But would probably get the job done. 90 reaction, good arm strength, diamond shield no matter where you put him at. Decent contacts, absolutely mashes lefties. But decent against righties and decent power. Not a bad card by any means, especially for a free card. As far as budget options go, I think this one and Gallo and Santander are definitely up there. Digo, like I said, in the infielders, if you give him the Rollins boost, you could argue that he is probably S tier at any position you want to put him at. But for me, top of A tier, right? Low contact, high power, amazing swing, amazing defense. Just lacks that contact that you probably want in those high legend games. Masataka, very good swing. Him and Nootbaar kind of go like hand in hand for me. They are very similar players, both lefties. One's weighted for center field, so Nootbaar probably has better hitting stats, but you could argue that Yoshida has the better swing. He also has max clutch, whereas I'm not sure if Nootbaar does or not. So for that reason, I think they are similar cards. Matt Holliday probably should not be a primary outfielder. I think he's more of like the absolute top of B tier, right? He is going to struggle mightily on defense. He is basically JD, wherever I put JD at. So I put JD here. I don't think his bat is going to compete with somebody like Soto, and he is going to be god awful on defense. He's borderline. If you want to argue A tier, I'll give it to him. But he is borderline. Clark, A tier, top of A tier. Very good contact numbers, right? If you put some parallels on him, if he came like this and then you could put some parallels on him, I don't think it would be a question that he would be S tier. But with just his default stats, he's fine. Or this is parallel 1. We can rock with this. Most people will probably get that. Good arm strength, decent reaction, not anything to write home about, and good speed. So not a bad card. Just he's going to struggle against lefties, right? And every pitcher in the game, basically, every good pitcher is a lefty right now. So that knocks him a little bit. And the fact that Cruz is a better card than him, and they are in the same pack. So they kind of get compared a lot. Brantley, another one of these like lefty outfielders. Where are they at? Where he's probably a little worse on defense than all of these other guys, but he probably will hit better than all of them, except for maybe like Booger. So for that reason, I'm going to lump him in with those. Mickey, if you still want to make the argument for best defensive outfielder in the game, it's between him, Griffey, and the new Buxton for sure. But for me personally, Mickey swing has gotten kind of old for me. I actually sold mine because he is absurdly high right now. He's like 400K. And when the season rolls over, I imagine a lot of people are not going to want to wild card this card. Some people will. Most people won't. Especially if they do want to retain the Ripken boost. So he is still S tier for now, but he is on the chopping block. Probably not over some of these other guys, but he's getting old fast. Mike Cameron, he's okay. He doesn't excel at too much. He hits lefties good for contact, but not for power. He is probably slightly below average against righties. And he is kind of fast, not super fast. Has good reaction, has good fielding. If you want to superfractor him, he's probably up there for defensive outfielders. But I don't know too many people that are superfractoring this Mike Cameron card. Mike Trout, just throw him in there as a budget option. The swing will always play. I think you can get similar production as long as you're not on Legend. You can probably get similar production out of this Trout card as you can from somebody like Sizemore, Hap, Eric Davis, JD, Matt Holliday. Comes with 99 speed. Not the greatest defender in the world, but the 99 speed will make up for it. Very good budget card. This Minoso card, you never see him online. There's a good reason for that. He has absolutely no power. Moving on. Betts, very similar to that Adolis card. Not gonna play a lick of defense, but absolutely mashes home runs. And up until like Hall of Fame, mid Hall of Fame, late Hall of Fame, you can probably get away with this card. Although his value in specific will probably be better at second base. Um, let's see who else do we have. We got Castellanos. Pretty much very similar to like this JD and Matt Holliday, where he probably should be a DH. Yeah, probably a little better than Soto in the outfield, but the bat probably won't be as good. Um, I really want. I'm dropping Soto. I can't keep justifying and rationalizing this. Um, he sucks on defense, so for that reason, he's going to go down a tier. You should DH the card, but if you absolutely can't, then I think he is probably the best option out of those. Randy, very close to S tier. Um, Borderline on defense, but he is a primary left fielder, so he gets to keep these stats. Okay reaction, okay speed. In a corner spot, when he hits like that, you can live with those numbers. So I do think he is still a good option and not a card I don't see a lot online. Acuna, absolutely S tier. I would not play him in center field. I have seen some people playing him in center field. Yes, he is somewhat fast, but his reactions in center field are going to be very bad. Even if we are generous and say that you superfractor him, his reaction is going to go back to its default of 82. He's going to take some false steps. And 95 speed is not as fast as somebody like Mickey and stuff like that, especially not Buxton. So I threw Sosa on here because everybody loves to complain that I don't have Sammy Sosa in here, even though there's basically no reason for you guys to be locking in live series at this point of the year. And I still hate his swing, but if you want to compare him and Judge, they are similar cards. They're both righties with bad swings. They're decent defenders and have a lot of quirks. So if you want to compare those, they're similar cards. Stan Musial, goes with these other guys. Just another lefty that can't play any defense, but is going to be an amazing bat for you. Again, better off as a DH, but in Musial's case and Holiday's case and Castellanos' case, their best value is probably going to be at first base. Torrey Hunter, another free card. I do like throwing in the little free cards as mentions. I think as far as just a free card goes, like he's not bad. You can see 194, 115, 115, and he's not awful on defense. Do not play him in center field. He's too slow to be a center fielder. But as a budget card goes, that's not too bad. Willie Mays still has god awful clutch. He's gonna probably play an okay defensive outfield. This is what I'm talking about speed in the outfield. Like this is borderline. Him being 87 speed would make me consider not playing him in center field. You need a faster outfielder than that. And if you want to put some parallels on him, then that's fine. But I assume we'll be getting a new Willie Mays very soon. Maybe even for the next set collection. He's kind of due. Stargell, another one of these guys, absolutely should rake, but not to the level of these guys, and is going to be a defensive liability. Again, just another budget card that I want to throw out there. Langford, bottom of A tier. Not a fan of his swing. I think Cruz and Clark are better picks than him. And if you're looking for a left fielder, both of them are going to play a better left field than he will. And they'll probably hit better also. So really no reason to take him out of that pack, but I do not think he's an awful card in general. And then Jordan, who is the epitome of these guys that should never be in the outfield. He is absolutely atrocious on defense. 78 speed, 60 reaction, 51 speed. He is awful in the outfield. He is probably worse than all of these guys. Santander, Baines. That's probably it. Those are the two worst guys in this tier that might play similar level defense to him. His defense is god awful, but his swing is very good. He has almost like every hitting quirk. Again, a pure DH should not probably be in the outfield at any point. But this is the outfielder tier list going into the end of set 3 as we approach that. Really like Mickey, but I think his time's running out. He is still probably the best defensive outfielder in the game, and he is a switch hitter, but I don't think too many people will wildcard him. Go get Acuna. If you have not gotten that collection Acuna, he is amazing. I think he's the best collection award that came out. Marte's worth the 15 points. Griffey, the best left-handed outfielder in the game by far. Absolute monster, and he's core. He's here for the rest of the year. He's going to be in S tier for the rest of the year. So get used to seeing him here. J Ram in left field looks amazing, especially with the Rollins boost. Buxton, honestly, an underrated card. I think a lot of people wrote this card off. For me, I don't like his swing, so he probably won't play for me, but I might have to see what that defense looks like because it looks crazy. McCutcheon has a great swing, should be in a corner. Riley, good swing, good stats, should be in a corner. Bellinger, a little too slow, should be in a corner. Dylan Cruz should probably be in a corner until you get some parallels on him. And then Hank, absolutely amazing bat, probably still a top 5 hitter in the game. And then Jock Peterson, put him in a corner. Absolutely amazing swing, has max clutch, definitely S tier. If you guys do want to see the lower tiers, I will scroll over them now. If you want to pause, you can pause. But I think almost every card in this list is worth using and usable. You can make about any of these work. If you guys do enjoy the content, feel free to like and subscribe. The best team will be the next video. Until next time.